All right, Rob, whose side are you on? Brady or Belichick?
This is a hard one. You know me, I'm such a Tom Brady guy in camp or whatever. Bill Belichick, of course. You know I am.
Well, are you?
Yes, I am.
All I hear is about cheaters. So, you're on the cheater side, right?
In this case, I am. I'm one cheater against the other cheater. But I'm with Bill Belichick today. And only from the standpoint that I think that, excuse me, Bill has been consistent in that he'd rather let guys go a little too early than too late and look across the board. That has been his history. So Tom Brady is against everything that Bill Belichick has done up in New England. This is a classic case of a coach, of an owner falling in love with a player. Tom Brady's not any different from anybody else. Joe Montana had to go somewhere else. Brett Favre had to go somewhere else. Jerry Rice went somewhere else.
Emmitt Smith.
We could go on and on and on. Everybody went somewhere else. You went somewhere else, and you went to the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
So almost everybody in this league has to go somewhere else to finish up. And it would be different if they didn't have a quarterback in place like they have a
Or had in place.
Had in place. It would be totally different. Then I'd say ride them out, and then they'll just have to wait and try to find something later on. But they had the guy.
Yes.
Belichick identified him, groomed him, had everything in place, and then what they have to do at the last minute? Give him up for almost nothing. When they should have traded him in the offseason if you knew you were going to keep Brady, which I knew that they weren't going to keep Brady.
That's why me and Skip was so adamant that Brady's gone after this year. Because they was going to have to make a decision with Jimmy Garoppolo. We knew they weren't going to franchise him and pay him $25 million a year, which would be required, and pay Tom Brady
They couldn't do it.
No.
And this is the last part, is Belichick and what he did. I think there is real turmoil. When he took away the guy's trainers' privileges during the season rather than waiting, Brady was playing well, right? The team is playing well. Why upset the apple cart at the end of the season when you're about to go into the playoffs when you didn't have to do that? Let it play out. Let that trainer stay there in place. And then at the end of the season, you could say we're changing some procedures and policies next year. But no, he did that as a dig to Tom Brady.
He did.
I'm taking Belichick's side in this. I think he's right.
What do we know most about the Patriots? Nothing gets out unless they want it to get out. We had no idea that they were going to move Jimmy Garoppolo. It happened. This about the trainer got out because why, Skip? They wanted it. Somebody wanted it to get out.
The head coach wanted it out.
We know Tom Brady didn't say it. This is what we know about players. Players are only going to do what's in the best interest of the players. And that's why I tell players, do what's in the best interest of you, because the team will always do what's in the best interest of them for the organization. Coach Belichick is trying to do what he thought was in the best interest of the organization. I got a bridge from Tom Brady into the future, and his name is Jimmy Garoppolo. I appreciate what you've done, Tom, but we've compensated you for that. You don't get to be a lifetime quarterback of the New England Patriots.
Nobody does.
And that's why Coach Belichick set up these barriers. And that's the Bill Walsh philosophy. I'm going to get rid of a player 1 year too early as opposed to 1 year too late. Now, we've seen...
Actually, the Branch Rickey philosophy dating back to the days of Jackie Robinson. But go ahead.
They traded Jackie Robinson.
They did.
They sure did.
We saw, what did he do? With Lawyer Malloy, with Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Willie McGinnis, all these guys.
We don't have all day.
But he knows, Coach Belichick, I can't. When you win, can you imagine? Coach Belichick would probably, he retire. He'd quit in the middle of the season if he lost more than 5 or 6 games in the season, because he hadn't done that since when? When Brady got hurt, he always wins 12 games, 13, 14. And he knows what it would be like if you don't have a quarterback that can bridge in all the success. And then, because people don't want to hear about, man, I remember we had Tom Brady. Those were the good old years. Skip, that's what everybody used to say before they found Ben Roethlisberger. Man, the Steelers of the 70s or the Cowboys of the 90s. Now that's what they said. That's all Skip talked about. He was there. He had a front row seat.
Skip was there.
Cowboys of the 90s. He sure wish that time would come back again like Stevie Wonder. I wish those days would. They're not coming back no more. You can dance all you want to.
You ready to move over there.
Skip, here's the thing. And think about this. They said Tom Brady requested this, and I don't know how true this is from this article, but you don't think Joe Montana, if he had the power, would ask Bill Walsh to trade Steve Young? Hell, Brett Favre would have told him not to even draft Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
When you take a quarterback high, they're not taking him to run scout team. They're taking him to take your job. That's why they have drafts. They have the draft every year. They have free agency every year. What are they trying to do, Skip? They're trying to make their team better, building for the future. And Coach Belichick was trying to build for the future, and the owner drew a line in the sand. Says, I'm siding with my son, Tom Brady Kraft, over you, Coach Belichick. And this will cause some tension. Now, they can dress it up all they want to, but all this got out with this article. When have we ever seen an article this in-depth about the New England Patriots? We got staffers saying that Mr. Kraft possibly having regret about trading Jimmy. He fell on the sword that there are staffers that think that Tom Brady, because remember in Deflategate, when they asked Coach Belichick about the ball, what did he say, Skip? Y'all got to ask Tom.
That's what he said. I don't know anything about the ball. Right. That's what he said.
Don't look at me.
I don't know nothing about
I've never cheated.
I don't know nothing.
I've never cheated. I've never been caught cheating before.
He said, hey, I know something about cameras. I don't know anything about no footballs.
Here's where both of you are dead wrong. You both just told me that Tom Brady is not any different than anybody else. But Tom Brady plays by far the most important position in the game of football, and he is easily the greatest to have ever played it. And he is about to win the MVP at age 40.
By default.
And not by default. He's just about to win it. And if you look back at even last year's Super Bowl, in the fourth quarter and overtime, Tom Brady threw for 246 yards, just in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Did you watch the first 3 quarters?
I only care about the fourth and overtime in this case because it was spectacular, albeit against a crumbling Falcons defense. It's just hard to do. It's clutch at the highest level. And it was clutch at the highest level against the Legion of Boom when he went 13 for 15 in the fourth quarter, down 24-14 for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And he did it again to that group. And the owner was forced to make a call because I agree with you. Bill Belichick was positioned to do what he felt he had earned the right to do, and that's to try to go win a Super Bowl without number 12. So he handpicked his guy, Jimmy G, and he loved Jimmy G almost like a son. It felt like he was that close to him because he's a good kid. Tom Brady's a good guy.
When do you ever known Coach Belichick to heap praise on somebody like he did Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, never.
He's a good kid.
Not
He's
like
a great
that.
player, hard worker.
He is, and all the above is true. So it's perfectly set up for Bill to do what he felt like he had earned the right to do. And the owner stepped in and said, you have made me decide. I got to pick a side, you or the quarterback. And I like the way the quarterback's still playing. And I think Robert Kraft can be a pretty ruthless businessman. Not that he's a bad guy, but he can be cold-blooded.
You got to make tough decisions when you...
And he just said, I think if my quarterback has told me eye to eye, I can last until I'm 45. I'm going to buy into that guy because that guy has been the biggest reason I now have 5 Super Bowls that was almost 6 Super Bowls. So
almost 6.
Well,
it could have been really 1, you know.
Oh, come on.
Skip.
So the point is that Bill Belichick rebelled against that decision. The piece points out that he was angry and disillusioned over that decision by the owner. And it looks like, to me, I don't even think it looks like he sabotaged this franchise going forward because he gave away Jacoby Brissett, number 1, to the team that turned in and blew the whistle on Tom Brady, to the Indianapolis Colts. Here, how about, do you want this?
Right.
And I'll take your bust receiver. I'll take Philip Dorsett, who's now caught a grand total this year of 12 balls for...
Brady can't find him.
Yeah, can't find him, okay? So, and then... we talked about this earlier in the show, but this was very interesting to me. You knew how close Belichick and Mike Shanahan were. I did not know how close that Belichick and the son Kyle have become.
I did not either.
And I did not know that Bill Belichick sat with Kyle Shanahan at the Combine, this says 4 hours, and mentored him, talked him through everything that went wrong in the Atlanta Super Bowl. That's out of bounds. That's outrageous. That's treasonous, if you will. That's right? That's where you are helping a young coach who's now a head coach that you might have to meet again.
And don't forget this, Skip. This year, He's out there recommending his offensive and defensive coordinators for jobs.
And he hasn't done that before.
Right?
Never.
So now he's out there saying, take my guys.
Okay.
So now you might leave the franchise high and dry without either guy.
But remember, on Garoppolo,
that's what it looks like.
You said he was forced to give up Garoppolo for 2. No, he wasn't forced to. He picked up the phone and called Kyle Shannon and said, have I got a deal for you? I'll give you Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick. For a second? It's the steal of the century if he stays on course and becomes what.
Normally what happens is, what would you offer for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
Not, this is what I'm taking, this is what I, that's all.
Right.
John, Bill Belichick just texted me and said he would take a 2 for Jimmy.
Done.
He's like, why'd you call me? Why'd you say done deal?
Done deal.
Run it.
So Cleveland has a stockpile of 1s and 2s. But according to sources, Bill Belichick didn't want to send Jimmy Garoppolo, who he loves like a son, to Cleveland quarterback hell. Wow, you gave him away to San Francisco? Well, that is sabotage. So I think Belichick has already decided, okay, if he picked 12, I'm out. I'm gone.
It sounds like that. I don't think that's far-fetched, the way that it's all laying out.
Correct.
And now, since Tom Brady obviously won the power play, right? Bob Kraft picked Tom Brady.
When you look at it, Coach Belichick is looking at Mr. Kraft, the owner, and says, what decision have I made in this organization with players that hadn't turned up roses? And the one time, after all, I mean, hold up, you're saying, okay, Tom Brady's won those 4 Super Bowls, those 5 Super Bowls. Who's been the coach? He said, I've been the coach here. For all those Super Bowls, all this historic run, we will never, I feel very comfortable in saying this, Skip, you will never see a run like this before again. You will never see anything like this in this time frame. You're talking about in under 20 years, a team has gone to 7 Super Bowls. They've won 5, possibly won another 6. So Tom Brady came to the Patriots in 2000. So in 2018, they got a chance to go 8 Super Bowls, win 6 of them. You will never, ever see a run like this.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.